Betty White. Oh, that is funny. Welcome back, NFL and Black Twitter. Welcome back. Here at Open Mic, we like to start the show with a few stories or a hot take on a story you're not likely to see anywhere else. I'm from gorgeous Prince George's, and now I spilled the tea in D.C., so you know these jokes come from a place of love. Let's start things off in Stafford County, Virginia, where a restaurant named the Clubhouse at Ikea Harbor is facing backlash for their September 11th themed menu promotion. There you see it right there. And I didn't know who thought this was a good idea. Freedom Flounder, First Responder Flatbread, Remember Teeny? And by the way, those are the non-offensive menu items. They also have Flight 93 Redirect, Pentagon Pie, and 2977 Chowder. That's right, 2977, as in how many people died in the September 11th attacks. Come on, man. Come on, really? The restaurant issued an apology and has promised to replace the 9/11 theme. Now, I do believe this apology since George White put his own name behind it instead of acting like it was a staff decision. He's like, hey, yeah, I probably should have listened to the bus boys when they said this is a bad look. But bruh, next time, run your ideas past a few people, any few people, especially if they involve mass casualty events. We're headed to Silicon Valley for this next story, where Eve Jobs, and shout out to Steve Jobs, because that's a fantastic bit of naming there. Eve Jobs, daughter of former Apple CEO Steve Jobs, mocked Apple's unveiling of the iPhone 14 by posting a meme showing a man holding up an identical shirt to the one he's wearing with the caption, "Me upgrading from iPhone 13 to iPhone 14 after Apple's announcement today." I love that meme, actually. That's one of my favorites. I should have said that. She's not wrong. This iPhone 14 upgrade, pretty similar to the 13. We are encroaching on Madden territory when it comes to the iPhone progression. Customers who bought a Pro version are going to see the bulk of the upgrades, by the way, which includes a 48 megapixel camera, a new A16 processor, and a new interface called the Dynamic Island. The Dynamic Island. Are we still talking about phones? Or are we talking about Ibiza? Is this anything like Lonely Island? You got to get to the top of the line iPhone 14 to experience whatever the Dynamic Island is. And if you're not paying top dollar, you're on Gilligan's Island with the rest of the peasants. These phones ain't loyal. I'm with you, Eve Jobs. I'll upgrade when my current phone is dead and gone, or, you know, when WSA9 pays for it. By the way, that is not stock footage. That is actually what my phone looked like before I got my new one. I chose this last story out of Beverly Hills because it's in keeping with the theme of Apple products and throwing shade. At the 2022 Code Conference, a reporter asked Apple CEO Tim Cook about improving communication between iPhone and Android users since he couldn't send certain videos to his mother. And Cook replied, "Buy your mom an iPhone." Oh, you really thought we was gonna roll with it, huh? You really thought we was, Tim Cook, you really told him to tell your mama to do something about those green bubbles? I mean, Cook was joking, but we know he wasn't joking. We know he wasn't joking. He act like he was joking. That's when you put LOL after something that you really mean, which we're Thursday, so you're probably a couple of y'all gonna start doing that tonight for the next several nights in a row. Now, I'm in the unique position of someone who uses both an iPhone and an Android, and I know about the lack of compatibility more than most. I wish something could be done to make it right, but clearly it won't be done anytime soon. Cook left the door open to someday switching to the rich communication service, which would eliminate the green bubbles and compatibility issues. But right now, Tim has new iPhones to sell. So if you don't want green bubbles all up in the group chat, not responding, dancing, come to Death Row Records. I mean, come to Team iPhone. And by the way, I quote that Suge Knight speech entirely too much on the show. But I will give you a pro tip. If you are sending a message that you want to have verification that you sent, but you don't necessarily want to be received, you know what I'm talking about, then your Android becomes your best friend. You're welcome. My favorite story, Eve Jobs roasting the company her father co-founded.